afternoon, good evening, wherever you at in the world. It's the TP Square Show coming to you live and direct right here on GenesisRadio.com in the place to be. Today, man, I was just grooving to the intro songs of the TP Square Show. Ain't no stopping us now, man. And I love that song, and I've loved that song since I was a child because it meant so much to me. Because it's nothing that we can't do as a people. It doesn't matter who you are and where you're from, but it should be ain't no stopping us now. And if you just go back and listen to that song from beginning to end, it just makes me feel good. That's just a feel good song. Ain't no stopping us now, man. Especially that part where it says, if you know someone who has a negative vibe, and if you're trying to make it, they only push you aside. They really don't have nowhere to go. Ask them where they're going, and they don't know. And that's the way it is in life sometimes, man. So you got to keep them negative people out of your life. When you find negativity and it's in your life, you got to get rid of it. You got to move it away. You got to step aside from it. You got to say, pardon me, excuse me. I love you, but I got to go. I can't stick around you, can't stay, because you know what? That negative energy, it sticks to you like glue, believe it or not. But anyway, y'all, it's a beautiful thing to be alive. It's another Saturday right here in the beautiful USA of America, the most beautiful country in the world, right here. If I had to live anywhere in the world, I'd rather be right here, in spite of it all. In spite of all the things that people think is wrong in America, I love America, and I salute and I pledge allegiance to that flag of the United States of America. So don't make no mistakes, y'all. But today on the TP Square Show is all about Morocco. Everything Morocco. That's what we're talking about today. That's right. Everything Morocco. We talking about North Africa and its influences on the world and the world's influences on North Africa. And I have some friends from Morocco, and I actually was supposed to talk about this last week, but due to circumstances beyond my control, we had to switch up and do a different show because I thought I was going to be able to have my Moroccan friends on the phone with us, and we just couldn't hook up. Our time differences had us all screwed up, so to speak. So we didn't get to do the show last week. So I'm here this week, and we're talking about everything Morocco, man. Morocco is one of the most beautiful countries in the world, as far as I'm concerned. And in fact, I'm going to spend that $4,450, and I'm going to have that 9-day vacation in Morocco, and I plan on trying to do that this spring, God willing, if this COVID thing is not as bad, and God willing, and if I can recruit a few people, Rud, you hear me? If I can recruit a few people to fly out there with me, and let's go visit Morocco, because it's a beautiful country. It's a beautiful country. It's right on the coast, of the Mediterranean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean. And it's North Africa. It's the northwesternmost part of Africa. It's right off the coast of Spain. And what's funny is you've all heard about the Rock of Gibraltar, right? And ironically, that's right off the tip of Morocco. And it's been claimed by the UK, although it's literally stuck right between Spain and Morocco, the Rock of Gibraltar. How about that? So there's little things that goes on in the world that we talk about, we know about, and we don't even know the origins of. So, I want to talk a little bit about those things today, because my guy that lives here in the United States, who was born in Morocco, big shout out to French Montana, who's also from Morocco. And we talked extensively last week about Morocco and all the things that has influenced the Moroccan way of life. And he was in Morocco, and he was due back. And when I think about it, there was a movie made many, many years ago with Humphrey Bogart in it. And it was a very popular movie. Everybody loved it. And the movie was called Casablanca. Right, Casablanca. And most people don't realize that that movie was about Morocco. Casablanca is one of the biggest cities in Morocco. And it's the vacation location of Morocco. You know, in fact, Morocco is the #1 vacation location in Africa. Point blank. Morocco is the vacation destination of Africa. Most people don't even know that. You know, there's roughly 37 million people who live in Morocco. And what's so ironic about it, you know, they speak Arabic and Berber. That's their most common languages spoken. And Berber is a combination of Arabic and French. Now, it's ironic. We do know the French has a lot of influence on Morocco also, because y'all remember the French Foreign Legion? Yeah, the French Foreign Legion. Well, they were in Tangier, also known as Tangiers, which is also part of Morocco. A lot of people don't realize that, you know, and these are countries that people talked about, but they didn't even know that they were actually in Africa. And the capital of Morocco is Rabat, and which is also a beautiful city. I like Marrakesh, and I'm gonna tell you why I like Marrakesh, because I watch National Geographics. The nerd in me, I'm very nerdy, and the Mercats, those are like little weasel type animals, you know, and they have tribes, you know, and National Geographic did this whole series on them while they followed the different packs of these Mercats all around, you know, and I got really into that, you know, so that's why I like Marrakesh, but that's in the desert, you know, and the Sahara Desert is also a part of Morocco. Yes, that's on the western end of Morocco. But what's ironic is Morocco. Morocco has the influences of the Spanish and the French and the Portuguese. Now, the Portuguese was the first people who came across the Mediterranean into Morocco. It was first the Portuguese. I don't know why the Portuguese was the first explorers, it seemed like, in the world. They went everywhere. The Portuguese. Shout out to the Portuguese. You know, I'm gonna have to travel there one day and go to Portugal and check out Lisbon and see what's really going on over there, you know. But it was the Portuguese who first came over to Morocco, you know, and they were the first ones to try to colonize, I should say, Morocco. Yep, it was the Portuguese. They was the first ones, and then the French came, and after the French came, then the Spanish came. Yes, the Spanish came, and what's ironic is I'm not even sure how close the Rock of Gibraltar is to Morocco. I'm not even sure, because looking at it on the map, it's probably less than 20 miles. It's probably less than 20 miles away, you know? And once you get past there, the Rock of Gibraltar is considered the UK, the United Kingdom. And then just past that, you're in Spain. And then there's some islands that's disputed with the Moroccans that Spain claims as their very own. So it's interesting. So, you know, again, I'm just here talking everything Morocco because I got a buddy who's from Morocco, and you know, he was telling me how beautiful it is and how I got to come over to Morocco, and you know, he wants to introduce me to the Moroccan way of life, and he wants me to see all the things that's going on over there, and he just want to share his country with me, you know, and he was telling me about all the great food and the great people and all those things. You know, he said, man, I want to take you to my family house. And one of the things he told me, he said, when the family is doing a celebration, he said, when they celebrate, they really celebrate, you know, and it's a few days worth of celebration, he was telling me. And he said, man, they will go out, and if they don't have a camel, he said they'll go out and get some camel meat, and they will barbecue up, cook up a camel, and there's various dishes of camel meat that they prepare. He said that's very tasty. He said, and that's just part of a festival thing that they do when they celebrating people, you know, and guests. Hold on. Let me see. I got my man Ugg. What's up, man? What's up, Ugg?
What's up? What time you going on?
Hey, I'm on the air right now, but hold on, don't go nowhere. I'm about to hook you up right now. I'm gonna put you on right now. Hold on, hold on. I got my man Salih on the line, and I'm about to plug him in with me. Can you hear me up?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, there you are. You plugged in, you live on the air with me. I was just on here bumping my gums about everything Morocco, you know, and I don't know if you was listening, but I just was going over some of the great things about Morocco, about Casablanca being the biggest city, and Rabat being the capital, and Tangiers being, you know, a part of Morocco that most people didn't realize was a part of Morocco, and how the French occupied Tangiers, and the Spanish and the Portuguese colonized Casablanca, hence the name Casablanca, you know, and how most people talk about the Rock of Gibraltar. You've heard that term. You heard about the Rock of Gibraltar, right?
Yeah.
And people didn't even realize that the Rock of Gibraltar is considered being in the UK. Yet the Rock of Gibraltar is just off the coast of Morocco, in between Morocco and Spain. And that's just a little piece of land, that Rock of Gibraltar, that the UK claims, that's off the coast of Morocco and Spain. You know, so you know, I was just going over little stuff like that, and just now I was just talking about my guy, you know, Ahmed, who is from Morocco, who was supposed to be a guest on the show with me last week, and he's in Morocco, and he was telling me about all the things Moroccan and how great the food is and how great the people are, and you know. So, did you do any research on Morocco?
I deal with Morocco from a different standpoint.
Okay.
Not really, you know, the trivial stuff. You know, all of the what the tourist attractions.
Mm-hmm.
I would consider them. Not less these things. It's very unique that the UK they claim that Rock is in the UK, and of course, I mean, from what I know about Morocco, Spain invaded Morocco.
Mm-hmm.
I do know that. I do know it was heavily Muslim.
It's very Muslim. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, the official and predominant religion is Islam. You know, in Morocco, and it's very strict too, also in Morocco. You know.
Right. I also, of course, I keep a Moroccan flag on my wall.
Mm-hmm.
That's due to me being a Moor.
Mm-hmm.
Which is under Islam and from the teachings of Noble Drew Ali. That's a long line coming from, you know, coming into the Americas from Morocco, and what studies teach us about Morocco.
Mm-hmm.
and the Americas and the rest of the world. We was taught that the Moors came from Morocco, and we were the great navigators of the sea.
Mm-hmm.
We controlled the seas, and
well, I can actually see that because you got the Mediterranean Sea on one side and the Atlantic Ocean on the other side of Morocco.
So that kind of opens up a whole book of worms, figure of speech. It just makes it where you start thinking about things within that body politic, as far as more science is concerned. You learn a couple of things from that. You learn a lot from it, a lot of history, and just try to sort all of this stuff out. I know the topic is Morocco, yet from my standpoint, you can't speak about Morocco and speak about the Moors. I don't know. I wish I could speak to your friend over there to find out if he knows about the Moors in America and how does that work over there.
In fact, he can, because one of the things that we talked about, he did talk about the Moors over there, because there are different tribes, I would call them, that's in Morocco, and who live separate from the Moroccan government, so to speak, that they live in the traditional ways. They speak the original Moroccan dialect. Okay, they do speak Berber.
Original.
Yes, they do speak.
Would that be Latin?
No, I don't know if it's Latin, but it's we did talk about that. He did talk about that because and as I'm looking at this right now, Latin is a form of Spanish.
Latin is the origin of Spanish.
Right. And what I'm looking at, in Morocco, the identity of the cultures, it was influenced by Europe, right? So they speak Berber, which is Arabic and a French dialect. And then there is a Spanish language, I can't pronounce the word, that is part of the original language of the Moroccans, that's widely spoken out in the country, so to speak. When you get away from the Rabat, Tangiers, Casablanca, the Fez, the big cities, and you go out into the tribal land, that's the language they speak. So you're right in that sense. I'm going to do a little more research right now to try to get the right pronunciation of that language. But go ahead, as you were saying.
I lost my train of thought, but I guess it's just strange. It's kind of strange that the UK would have claim over that. It says a lot about the history, a lot about what went on between Morocco and the Americas.
But you got to understand. Right? Morocco is a very, very rich land, part of Africa, very rich. And because it's so close to Europe, they couldn't help. The Portuguese came first. They couldn't help but go over there and try to pilferage the riches of Morocco. And believe it or not, the Moroccans did fight. They just didn't lay down and take it. They fought, but they wasn't prepared to fight the fight that was presented to them.
Is the language called Darja?
Yes, exactly. That.
Okay.
That's the language.
It's Arabic.
Yes.
It's Arabic. Okay.
That's the language. That's the language. That's the language.
Yeah, there was many battles over there. There was many battles over there. Like I said, I don't know a lot about Morocco. I just know what I was taught within my belief system. I don't really like to call it a religion. I like to deal with it as a way of life, and I'm still learning. So from what I don't know, I just see certain things. You know, I don't want to speculate or anything, but from what we were taught, a lot went on. Definitely a lot went on, and if these things hold to be true, I'm grateful for that flag in a lot of ways. That flag allowed me to know that I was American. And that's kind of deep for a lot of our people to understand. And being grateful to be an American, that's kind of hard for our people to understand and grasp. I could get slandered for that. But yeah, it did a lot for me. I'm grateful for that to a certain extent. Yeah, Morocco. What made you want to speak on this topic?
Well, like I said, my friend Ahmed, he's Moroccan, and he said that he was going home for 2 months, and we're connected on social network, and I was up one day, 2-3 o'clock in the morning, whatever, and he popped up on social network, and he sent me a message, said he was in Morocco, and I was asking him how it was doing, man. He was telling me, man, you need to come over here, man. You need to come over here on a vacation, man, and let me show you the country. And we got to talking about it, and he was telling me about the beautiful people, the beautiful food, and the beautiful countryside. And he was telling me how that, Morocco is the vacation, the number one vacation location in Africa. He said that, when Europeans go to Africa, that's where they go, to Morocco. He said that, it's full of Europeans all year round. Their tourism is booming because of Europe, and he was telling me about that, and he was telling me about the food and the culture and the history, and we started talking about the history. He was telling me about the Portuguese influence, the Spanish and the French, and he was telling me about, the disputed lands in the Sahara, we just talked about all those different things, man. And he was telling me that he had to go back because, family is important, and his family is still over in Morocco, and he said, the extended family is one of the most important elements, in the social life of any Moroccan, because the adult children are expected to take care of the family, and take care of the aging, so he's in America, and he's doing his thing here. He's working in technology, and him and his brothers and his cousins have just purchased 2 UPS stores, and they're running these UPS stores, and they work in the IT field. So they got jobs doing IT work, but they're also business owners that they open these UPS stores. And, they're sending money home to take care of the family. And he says that, he just went over there to make sure the family is okay and spend some time at home, so, and we were just talking about that. And one of the things that really struck me was he was saying how, in America, the topic has come up about the browning of America. You hear that term all the time. He says, but
what does that term actually mean?
The browning of America, that means that the people in America, their skin tone is getting darker. the majority of the people are getting darker. That's all that means when they say the brown of America, because there's more people of color coming into America. There's more people of color mixing with white America, Caucasians. So the complexions of the Americans are getting darker. And he talked about that. He said, well, people don't realize that in North Africa, he said that if you come to Morocco and you go out into the countryside, he said, TP, you're going to see Moroccans that's darker than you in Morocco. He said, because those are the tribal people who never mixed with the Europeans. They stayed out in the countryside. You know, they fought off and stayed away from the Portuguese, the Spanish, and the French. You know, and those are the ones who wear the traditional Moroccan garb. You know, they're out in the desert, you know, so to speak. And that's where they live at, you know, in the desert, in the mountains, and, you know, away from everybody. And he was talking about that. And he said that, you know, when you look at Morocco and most of Northern Africa, the people in Northern Africa, their complexion has gotten lighter, just like the Egyptians. The word Egypt means land of the white. Their complexion got lighter only because the European influence of the Europeans, the French, the English, the Portuguese, by them coming into North Africa and setting up shop and being there for hundreds of years and taking wives and husbands and having children, well, what's going to happen? The complexions are going to get lighter. Yes or yes. So we talked about the browning of North Africa. It went from being black to brown. And that's why most people, when they see the Moroccans and the Egyptians and the people that live in the North African countries, that their skin is lighter, fair skinned, because of, you know, the integration of Europeans into those countries. So does that make any sense to you?
I would guess so. As, you know, I'm always like, you know, I always attack certain things when I hear them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, things like the browning of America. You know, we've been brown everywhere. So
well, it's no doubt we've already been here, no doubt.
Right. So I can understand. I have to understand it from that kind of language, but it's like what? You know what I'm saying? It's like the browning of America. Like, you know, I mean that David is like the earth has been brown. I mean, like we've been here. Somebody, you know, we talked about this off the air when everybody was at the station, and you know, we have that statement. This is a word that I utilize a lot with you. I've heard you say it. Paradigm shifts. Words like that can keep us in a state of being. Statements like that,
Mm-hmm.
ideas like that can keep us in a state of being. And it's just interesting because and I'm kind of grateful that I never heard the term. I've came to spaces in my life where, you know, even in my structure, you know, even as a Muslim out Islam, they had these ideas of us against them. You know, you have that society, us against them. And I've met people and I've talked about the heartbeat. I said, as long as the heartbeat is and it's a light, they deserve, you know, the qualities of man. You know what I mean? Love, peace, happiness, freedom, justice, equality. So, you know, I'm kind of glad that I never heard it. It's interesting